Jet Press Podcast. My name is Justin Fried, and I'm joined, as always, by my good friend, my compatriot, my compadre, my co-host. It's been a while since I've done this little tangent at the beginning. Mike Luciano. Mike, what's going on, buddy? How you doing?
Well, how much snow did you get? Because we got about 20 inches where I am, which is kind of like East Monmouth County. So we got slammed pretty hard. Luckily, I didn't have to do a lot of plowing because we're right near a business. So they actually had to plow the parking lot to get people in. So that actually took care of a lot of that. I felt bad undoing their works. I need to get all this shit off my car after they plowed, but I'm like, what? I'm sorry, I have to get it out. But
Okay.
how'd you make out in snowpocalypse?
It was like 18 or 19 inches, something like that. Nothing. I mean, it was a lot of snow, but thankfully the beauty of what we do, Mike, is that while everyone else gets to stay home from work, we get to stay home and work because we work on our computers, and that's fun. Which I'm not going to complain about that. But yeah, it was a good time. You know, there's still a lot of snow out. I was unpleasantly surprised to wake up this morning and see my car covered in snow again after cleaning it off. So because we
didn't get a ton down here for that. We just got like
you can get like a ton, but it was a couple inches, like enough that I had to like defrost my car again and wipe off all the snow. And
I mean, it's like in the mid 40s right now, so like some stuff's melting a little bit. So well, the weather talk with Justin and Mike. So now that that's done,
stay tuned for your weather forecast at the end.
Now that that's done, we'll get into our quarterback tier list. Hopefully, we do a lot better than last year where we ranked Justin Fields as an A. And I think one of the only ones who was above him was Matthew Stafford, and that was like half goofing around to even include him in the list. So.
Isn't it fun how this is becoming an annual tradition that every single year we're like, oh, the Jets have 20 different quarterbacks they could potentially have starting.
Well, hopefully next year there's less of this bollocks, which probably not, but
there won't be. We'll be doing this again next year, Mike.
Theoretically next year they could draft one, so we're going to be arguing over a couple of draftable guys.
True.
Unless we're going to get a couple like build around Darnold people who they're going to sign anyone halfway decent new. You got to build around Jacoby Brissett. Remember what happened to Darnold?
Well, we'll get into the tier list in a moment. I'm just as a like pre-warning for it. I put 21 names on this list, Mike, which is we don't have to have conversations about a lot of them. There's only one rookie on this list because I'm looking at it as these are the guys that could start week one for the Jets. And I realistically think there's only one rookie in this class that could theoretically start week one for the Jets, and that's Ty Simpson.
Cole Payton.
That's Cole Payton. Just to ask, was it Jason Luck on for him?
I actually liked him a lot more than I thought I would when I was finalizing my eval for him.
Okay, so 16
he might be the day 3 guy to target.
Not 16?
No, 116 maybe, not 16.
Well, we'll get into that. First, Mike, I want to do a little bit of conversation. Just
before that, Apple, Google, Spotify, Overcast, wherever you get your podcasts, we are there. And if you want to support the show, YouTube, like the stream, big help. Subscribing, big help. All that stuff. Hyping if you have the ability to. All helps support the show. Now that we got the plug out of the way, let's tie up some odds and ends.
Talk about it.
From the Combine. Fairly unremarkable. Nothing that I saw. And again, we try to not react as much to these press conferences because they mean nothing and it's coach speak. But genuinely, the quote that went viral was Aaron Glenn saying calling plays is his superpower. If you're upset by that, honestly, like, get a life. Like, if that's some like, oh my God, this guy's incompetent, whatever, like, get a life a little bit, because you want the coach to be confident and assured of his plan. What do you want him to go? I suck, we suck, get ready for 1-16. That it seems like fans wanted him to say that, and he didn't say that. He said that I think we're gonna have a better outlook this year, and you know what? I may agree with him in certain aspects. The things I don't buy, but again, it's coach speak, are Woody Johnson is a great owner, and I don't really think he meddled, and Wink was interested in the DC spot without calling plays. I don't necessarily believe that.
I doubt it.
I do believe that the coaching staff's better this year. I believe that he did like Brian Duker because of the relationship in Detroit, and I think because of Jeff Hafley coming into Miami, there was kind of some uncertainty as to if he'd even be available, and then when Hafley looked like he wasn't going to keep him, the opportunity became available here. And then Darren Muji said a couple boilerplate things, the big thing obviously being Breece Hall is staying. We don't want to rehash that whole conversation because we had it last stream, but I'm tentatively happy for that. Like, the only thing that really upsets me about that is Breece's attitude, and that's something he can control. But roster-wise, I'm happy with that. All in all, nothing particularly too remarkable in Jets land from the Combine.
Yeah, I think the Brees news is the big thing. And like you mentioned, we've talked about this at length. I think we've now talked about it the last two streams, so we don't have to do it again. And I have a feeling, Mike, we're going to end up talking about it next week because the franchise tag deadline is the 3rd, which I believe next Wednesday is the 4th. So I think we'll be streaming right after that deadline passes. So we'll be talking about whatever the Jets end up doing with Brees Hall. Certainly the biggest takeaway, I think, to me, other than the fact that I think Darren Bougie is just very good at these press conferences. Like that was one of my takeaways. I'm like, he's mastered the art of saying a lot of things without really saying much, but also like I think he gives enough that if you read between the lines, you can understand what he's trying to say, right? Without being like problematic and saying too much and putting his foot in his mouth. I think he's very good at these press conferences. And one of the things he did say was in no uncertain terms, the Jets are keeping Brees Hall, right? Obviously, we don't know, for certain if he's on the week 1 roster, but we do know for sure at this point that he is not going to just walk in free agency for nothing. The Jets made it clear. Darren Bougie made it clear when he was speaking yesterday that if the two sides do not reach a long-term extension, which I do not imagine that they will, they are going to tag him. Now, whether that's the franchise tag or the transition tag, to be determined. I think it was telling that Muji specifically said that we have tags, like plural.
He's not getting away, so.
Yeah, and I think it was telling that he said tags plural, kind of leaving open that transition tag, which feels more likely to me at this stage. The franchise tag is a lot of money. It's $14.5 million, something like that. We talked about the exact figures the last couple of weeks, but either way, the Jets will not be letting Brees Hall walk. That's a big takeaway. The Wink Martindale stuff is whatever. I don't expect Aaron Glenn to go up there and say, yeah, Woody Johnson forced me to do this. He's a terrible owner. I hate working for him.
And we're not People Magazine. We don't need to know the specifics of this gossip here.
I just, regardless of what Glenn may have said yesterday, I still maintain the belief that, yeah, Woody Johnson likely got involved. Either that, because if Aaron Glenn's going to say that Woody Johnson didn't get involved, then that makes Aaron Glenn look like if that's his stance, it makes Aaron Glenn look even worse because it just means that he completely abandoned his football philosophy and basically, held a lot of these coaches, I don't want to say hostage, but kind of led them on and kept string them along for a few weeks, only to then fire them after he was not planning to do so.
Firing Darren Muji's college buddy, in fact, in
right.
Tanner Engstrand.
Right. So that would make Glenn look a lot worse. I don't think that's what happened. I think it was a Woody Johnson probably getting involved situation. And I also don't believe for a second that Wink Martindale was seriously interested in being Jets defensive coordinator if he was not calling plays. Could you imagine a world where that happened, where Glenn called
Unless
plays?
He's just that desperate to be in the NFL.
I think he has too much pride for that. That's not something you see a guy who's 60 something years old, who's been an NFL defensive coordinator for decades, come back to the NFL to just be the understudy of Aaron Glenn. Like that's not, I can't imagine. I can't even think of a scenario where that's happened recently. I don't think that would have happened. But all those to say, yeah, Mike, I don't think it was a super eventful combine day for Glenn and Muji, but they said a couple of things that I thought were interesting. Their comments, Muji's comments about AVT and John Simpson were also a little interesting. I think it seems like they're going to let both of those guys test the market. I'm hopeful that they bring back Vera Tucker. I think you're more hopeful that they bring back Simpson or go in a different direction. But it does sound like they're not going to get a deal done with either of those players before free agency starts in a couple of weeks. But yeah, other than that, not a ton of takeaways.
2 comments, then we'll get into our tier list. Veteran Jet fan, Muji said AG was thinking of calling the defense and got the hunch at the end of the season that he would go that way. I'm sure he discussed it. I'm sure he didn't think about this 2 days before the whole meeting with Wink. I'm sure that he was kicking this around for a while and was just a little indecisive on it.
I'm sure it was a topic of discussion. I don't think that he planned to call plays. They would not have.
I don't think he's pissed that he is now. I think he does like calling plays.
I don't know how he feels, but I'm happy. I'm happy that he's calling plays. I preferred that over Wink Martindale's defensive coordinator. But
let's not act like Aaron Glenn was not a good defensive play caller in Detroit.
No, but the Jets were having conversations with Wink dating back to December. I don't think they would have been having those conversations if Aaron Glenn believed he was calling plays.
And then Leon M is him. Woody evil dumb bum narrative is more copable for Jets fans. It is, but it's also a crutch because you can blame him for everything. Even things that, obviously Woody sucks. There's no one who would argue he doesn't suck, but a lot of things aren't tied to Woody. I know he oversees everything because he's got his fingers in kind of all the pots here, but some stuff isn't him. And then if you just keep blaming him because Woody's always bad, then that's not productive. That's defeatist. Because then it's saying we're never going to be good as long as Woody Johnson owns the team, and then one of his descendants is probably going to end up owning the team. Like I don't think he does like a Jody Allen and like just sells this. I think he's probably passing this down to Brick.
Yeah,
or
you're not ready for Brick Johnson owner.
Brick or the money guy, some sort of trust afterwards. Like this is staying within the Johnson sphere. So.
Brick Johnson working hand in hand with Jaime Elhai to run the New York Jets. Are you not entertained by?
They like yeah. Hey, you know what? Carolina and Phoenix got bought recently. They're not doing too hot, either of them.
Yeah, I guess
Phoenix in the NBA, Carolina in the NFL. Either of them aren't doing too hot. So
no, Suns fans hate Matashima, man.
I mean, like they should have got rid of Robert Sarver. He's worse, but like it's not always just this billionaire comes in on a white horse and fixes everything. You know,
it's true.
You got to learn to. Here's how you know you got to learn to win. Remember those PA report cards that Woody Johnson hated?
Yes.
Wasn't it funny how the Chiefs ownership was like dead last outside of Woody?
Oh yeah, there were a lot of like successful organizations that did like you're able to do that if you have Patrick Mahomes your quarterback. Like that you could be a poorly run organization in some aspects if you have Patrick Mahomes your quarterback. Unfortunately, the Jets don't. As we're about to talk about, I don't think they have any anywhere close to a Patrick Mahomes caliber quarterback that could be starting for them week one. Before we get into that tier list, really quick, veteran Jets.
Really quick, Ambassador Woody Johnson. My superpower is excellent football franchise management. I just don't do it because it wouldn't be fair to the rest of the league.
He's back.
Oh, he's Rock Lee with the weights on. Jeez.
The ambassador is back. I imagine, because we're pretty confident that's Brian, right? I imagine Brian just switching back and forth between his accounts to make that.
That's a lot of effort for an ongoing joke.
If there's anything that I appreciate in this world, it's commitment to a bit. And anybody who knows me knows
I do know that you can't change it too much. I hope you're not changing your name on Mike, because you can't keep changing it too much.
Wasn't that the issue he ran into in the past, where he was stuck as Woody
Optimum customer support for a while?
Yeah, that's what it was. Oh my God, the Optimum days, man. Thank God.
So use those changes wisely here.
I still have Optimum. I just fixed my entire neighborhood. You're welcome to everyone. But really quick, veteran Jet fan. So name the NFL draft prospect. 35 starts, 26-9 record, 63 completion percentage, 61 touchdowns through the air versus 13 interceptions, 734 yards rushing, 13 touchdowns. I don't know. My thought was Carson Beck. I know he did a lot of winning in college.
No, Carson Beck was, I think, 37-5.
He was even better,
which is crazy.
Was it been Kate Klubnik? I don't know. Drew Aller?
I thought it was Pavia, but no.
Aller have 35 starts?
No, he didn't have that many. No. I think it's probably
Klubnik.
No, Klubnik had more.
Okay. I'm assuming it's a current, like a quarterback in this draft class.
I would hope so.
Wait, is it Cole Payton?
No, Cole Payton had 1 year.
That's right. He didn't. Yeah, that's right. He wasn't starting North Dakota State.
Nussmeier didn't start until 2 years ago, so it's not him.
35 starts is a lot of starts in college these days.
I don't think it's Talon Green. Because he lost a lot.
It's Drew Aller, according to veteran Japan. It's Drew Aller.
Really? He started that many games?
35 starts, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, he did. Huh.
Yeah.
Oh, because he had the year beforehand where he was like too conservative, and then he went aggressive. We're like, oh, he figured it out, and then he went back and got hurt. So, okay.
Yes. All right.
So let's go and talk about some quarterbacks, one of which will not be Drew Aller officially.
Correct.
I don't think he's starting. The Jets may take him in the 4th round, but he's not starting day one. So let's go and get this little tier list up.
I'm excited, Mike.
I'm excited too. You want to just get the obvious, the guy who has his own tier out of the way right now without really much of a discussion.
Yeah, I just felt the need to, I could have just left it as like F for Fields, right? I think running it back with Justin Fields as the starting quarterback for the New York Jets next year might be the worst possible option. Like it's Brady Cook levels. Like if they were to actually do that, obviously
he doesn't even want to do that.
We are aware that's not going to happen. As Darren Muji said yesterday, Justin is on the roster.
Josh is our guy.
basically was like, yeah, Justin Fields is alive. He's currently breathing. That's the only thing we can confirm about Justin Fields. Reading the, in between the lines there, the writing's on the wall. The Jets will release Justin Fields. He will not be the starting quarterback, but we'll still put him on this tier list. We'll put him in the Justin Fields tier. We'll see if any other quarterbacks can
now, is this on a curve or is this just in general? Because I don't think there's any S tier guys.
I think it's on a curve. I think it's like, there might not be an S tier. I don't think there is an S tier.
I don't think there is.
Even with the curve, I don't think there's an S tier, but it's like, all right, our top options are going to be close to the top. Like last year, Justin Fields, we really liked. He wasn't S tier, but we had him as an A tier guy. obviously
Both of us huge whiff. Apologies.
Right. Whoever now stay tuned to next year, where whoever we have in A tier this year is going to have their own tier below D.
We had Daniel Jones in F, and look what happened with him.
Yeah, well, I didn't even put Daniel Jones on this list because it sounds like he's going back to Indy. Every player that is on this list has at least been mentioned as a possible target for the Jets, and I think in some reality could happen. Like this player could end up on the Jets. Again, I want to stress that this isn't like veteran options just being backups. This is if this player is the week 1 starter for the Jets.
Are they trying to win games, not some elaborate tank job?
Correct. We're also clarifying this is going to be from the perspective of Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji, who are trying to save their jobs. This is not from Jets fans who are trying to tank for Arch Manning or whoever in the 2027 draft class. That's not what we're going for here. If that was the case, Justin Fields might be S tier, right? If they're trying to lose games this year. So first, Mike, the first name I have actually is a name that's very much.
We're going to go alphabetically here, or
I completely arbitrarily, randomly put them in here. So we're just going to go with whatever.
They're not. Okay, yeah, because I thought they were alphabetical.
They're not alphabetical in any way at all. But the first player name that we have here is someone who's in the news. Just reported today, I think it was Adam Schefter reported it, that the Carolina Panthers are fielding trade offers or considering trading backup quarterback Andy Dalton. Mike, where do you rank Andy Dalton here? What are your thoughts on Dalton as a week 1 starting quarterback?
He's a D. The only way I could see
D for Dalton?
Andy Dalton, he's regressed hard. He's going to be 39 soon. The only reason
that old?
Yeah.
Holy, I didn't realize that.
He's 38 now, so
that's crazy.
So yeah, the only reason they would acquire him is because Frank Reich overlapped with him in Carolina and he knows him, but I can't imagine really. And again, Andy Dalton's had a great career, but it's time to go be a family man. Andy Dalton.
Dude, where does the time go, man? He's 38. That's crazy.
Yeah. Older prospect too when he came in. So
yeah, I was this, and this is such a sorry list, bro, because we're gonna be debating some really gross
some rancid options.
Yeah, I was almost considering back end of C tier. I was kind of thinking C tier for him, just because I think he had the familiarity with Reich. He knows whatever offense they're going to try to run. Obviously, if you're bringing in an Andy Dalton, and this is going to go for a lot of veterans on this list, the assumption is you're also drafting someone. And there's a very decent chance that multiple quarterbacks on this list are going to be on the Jets roster. It's just who is starting. If they bring in Dalton and they draft Ty Simpson and Dalton is starting week 1, I don't think that's terrible. I don't think that's a bad outcome. Or they somehow sign Malik. They're not going to sign Malik Willis, but if they trade for Tanner McKee and it's a Tanner McKee versus Andy Dalton versus Drew Aller quarterback competition in camp, which that you scoff, but that's a realistic possibility. And also they could do worse than that. That's not the worst thing I've ever heard. Now they're probably going to win 4 games if they do that, but I think there's at least upside there. I'm fine with D's here. I don't think
that's about as much Andy Dalton discussion as we can.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue that he should be much higher than that, but I think there's going to be guys in D tier below him, possibly including this man, Carson Wentz.
I think it's the same sort of argument. Actually, Wentz, I think of all the quarterbacks the Vikings had last year, he was the best. He did, whatever that's worth.
A quarter of a shoulder left at this stage.
Yeah, I just don't know where his shoulder's at. If he had a healthy shoulder, I think he might be in C, but I don't think he does, so it's D with Dalton.
I also am I don't know where his relationship's at with Frank Reich, because obviously things ended very poorly.
I think Irsay forced him out too.
Maybe. I don't think he was very popular in that Colts locker room. I do not get the sense that he was well liked, and I think they were pretty quick to move on from a guy who actually had a pretty solid year with the Colts.
He had 27 touchdowns and 7 picks.
Yeah, so I'm fine putting him. You want to put him ahead of Dalton?
Put him ahead of Dalton.
I'm not gonna argue.
Oh boy, Anthony Richardson.
We're starting off with some bangers, Mike. We might not. I don't think we're getting out of D tier here, are we?
I don't like to be defeatist with the Jets of they can never get it right. They can never figure guys out. Mm-hmm. There are certain guys that, and I like Aaron Glenn more than most. I think the coaching staff this year is going to be better than it was last year because there's more experience. But Frank Reich is not going to be the guy to fix Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson needs to go. Not even to a Kyle Shanahan quarterback camp, because I don't think that's the type of quarterback he is. I think you almost need to go to, and this is going to be a very extremely lazy comparison, so apologies for phoning it in here, but almost like Brian Dable because of what happened with Josh Allen. He's going to be the archetype for all these guys like this. Like, you need somebody who can just corral them a little bit and just have them make the easy stuff. Now, that can be done mechanically. Like, it's not impossible. I mean, there are some throws that nobody else in the league can make that Anthony Richardson can make. But on top of all that, with the injury history, I can't put him anywhere except like C. Like, obviously, the tools are as good as any quarterback in the league. Literally, I've never seen a quarterback with this level of tools be this bad.
Yeah.
So you would think that somewhere in the middle is where he'd settle, but he keeps getting hurt so much that you never really find out. I think the concerning thing, too, is he doesn't even have the Justin Fields, excuse of Matt Eberflus and that offensive line and all that. Like, he had an offensive coach and a running back and weapons. Like, he should have been really good. Like, if you can't produce in the same offense that had Daniel Jones in MVP talks for a while, then where do you go?
And Fields has also shown more than Richardson has. Like, Richardson's not been able to string together, even Fields, I think at his best was still like a starting caliber quarterback. I don't know if you've ever been able to say that about Anthony Richardson, that he's ever been a starting caliber quarterback. If he is starting week 1 for the Jets, that means they likely traded for him, signed a vet, and he just won the quarterback competition, which, man, who the hell, what vet did they bring in that he's beating them out? I mean, maybe that's
Andy Dalton.
Andy Dalton, Anthony Richardson. Oh boy. Yeah, I agree. I think he, if he ever is going to somehow salvage an NFL career, he needs to be put through some sort of Brian Dable like boot camp.
Multiple years of backing up to figure it out.
I don't think 2026 Frank Reich is going to be that guy for Anthony Richardson. So I'm very comfortable putting him in D tier. In fact, I'd put him behind both.
I was going to put him in C above the other ones.
Oh, you put him in C?
Yeah.
You think it's a C tier if he's starting week 1 for the Jets? That they're
more just because, like,
this is upside, I guess. But dude, he's worse.
That's literally the only reason. But you're getting a guy who's probably got a top 2 or 3 strongest arm in the league, probably top 2 or 3 fastest quarterback in the league, probably top 2 or 3 biggest quarterback in the league. Like, I'm not advocating for him. I'm not saying to go do it. I wouldn't be thrilled if they did it, but
we're debating garbage.
There'd at least be a philosophy. Like, it didn't work with Fields, but there'd be a philosophy of, like, maybe he figures it out with it. Maybe he just needs a change of scenery. Sam Darnold. Like, maybe you just need a change of scenery, and then that could work. Like, Dalton and Wentz, you're just saying immediately, like, we're giving up the other parts of the season.
It would be exciting in a bad way, probably, but it would be like, I would be more excited if Anthony Richardson was the week 1 starter for the Jets than Andy Dalton. But I would feel more confident that they're going to win more games with, like, Carson Wentz than Richardson. But if we want to just go vibes and put him C because we'd be more interested, I don't hate it. If we're going to use that mindset of, like, okay, maybe
he's just such an anomaly that you have to,
Yeah, I don't hate putting him C tier just for the fun of it, because it would be fun. And look, I know we said we weren't going to rank this way, but if you want a tank commander, my friend, Anthony Richardson is your tank commander. Either he's your tank commander or
he figures it out and you go 13-4, and who knows?
Or he figures it out. So in that case, then maybe he's like A tier. Like, we'll keep him C tier just because vibes, but also it would be some brutal football likely. I have a feeling Garrett Wilson would end up very.
They must really believe in Bill Musgrave.
Hey, Anthony Richardson bombing it to AD Mitchell again.
Yeah,
could be fun. Could be fun.
Let's go AFC South again. We got Davis Mills.
That is Davis Mills, fellow member of the Long Neck Club. I like to say that I reside in that club as well, but he's got what, Mike? What?
You're testing me, man. You're testing me.
Listen, there's a lot you could do with a long neck, Mike.
Are you serious?
You could, like, peek around doors.
No, don't even. No.
You can like giraffe
just
eat stuff that's really high.
No, not if you have a long neck. That's long arms.
No, but, like, how giraffes, like, eat leaves and trees and stuff.
So Davis Mills is the backup quarterback of the Houston Texans. Another Stanford guy. We're having a weirdly Stanford-heavy coaching staff and operation here, because we got Reich and then also a guy later who went to Stanford. I've actually warmed to Mills more than I thought I would, and I've been more down on Tanner McKee because, like, he literally has, like, never played a meaningful NFL snap.
At least Mills, when he played last year, looked better than McKee. McKee only played 1 game, I know, but Mills looked all right.
He had 2 years where he was pretty much he was the starter for the Texans. Yeah. He put together high-end backup, low-end starter level play. which, you don't always get that. And in the last couple of years, he's backed up CJ Stroud. In those 3 games he started, now again, he didn't play great in them, an 81.6 passer rating, 5.8 yards per attempt, but he wins all 3. And if he comes to the Jets, he's never had a receiver as good as Garrett Wilson. He's never had a running back as good as Breece Hall. He's never had an offensive line this good. Again, I don't think Mills is going to be the solution, but I think Mills could, if he hits, would give you probably mid-20s, high 20s quarterback play. If he hits. And then you're in at least a healthy situation where you're not forced to take a quarterback next year. You can if you want to, but you can bring him along slowly then and let Mills start in 2027 and then basically do what they did with Stroud and just switch him in. I think I'd put him in A if you're grading on a curve. Because I want to see Mills with a good offensive line. He's never really had that in his career. And he's not a very mobile guy anyway, so that accentuates all of his flaws. He's one of the guys, I wouldn't be, again, thrilled with it, but as veteran Jets fan says, what's the price for Mills? It's probably, I don't know, maybe a 4th or a 3rd or something like that. And then the Texans maybe get a higher end backup for Stroud, just swap him in and out. You could do a lot worse than Davis Mills.
Yeah, I was going to say the price matters here. If you have to give up, they don't have a 3rd, obviously, but what the equivalent of a 3rd would be, or even I don't think you'd have to give up 44, right, for Davis Mills, but I don't think the Texans just want to get rid of him. What's his current contract? Because they obviously extended him. I have no idea what his contract currently is. It's some backup deal, I'm sure.
1 year, $7 million extension.
So that's kicking in this year?
That's next year. He's making $7 million.
$8 million cap hit. So that's not a small cap hit, but it's obviously if he's your starter, that's extremely cheap and affordable. A tier feels high. I wasn't considering that, putting him that high, but I guess if you're looking at cap hit being $8 million, it's pretty good. That's going to be better than some of the guys we're going to talk about who might be better or more reputable players than him. Last year, 3 starts, he went 3-0, 5 touchdowns and an interception. He kind of jump-started their comeback, their resurgence in a lot of ways, while Stroud was out. I like Davis Mills, and I like what you mentioned about getting him a good offensive line, because that Texans offensive line has been brutal for a few years now. It's gotten progressively worse, honestly. And
the Jets are a dumpster fire team. They're not a dumpster fire offense.
They're not
structure-wise.
And maybe there could be something to Davis Mills, the connection with Wright going back to Stanford. Maybe there's some kind of connection there, where it's I wouldn't hate seeing him throw to Garrett Wilson and seeing, I can't believe I'm talking myself into Davis Mills throwing to Garrett Wilson here. But you're right. We have to grade on a curve.
Getting this excited about it.
As veteran Jet fans said, he's a free agent next offseason. So this would be the true definition of a 1-year stopgap, and just I don't think there's a ton of upside with Mills as a high-end starter, but can he be?
You could probably rework his contract too and maybe tack on an extra year for next year if you get him.
If they like him that much. I don't know if they would, though. I think, I don't know if Woody would want them to do that, because I think they kind of are all right, well, this would be Frank Reich's guy. Decent chance Frank Reich isn't even here next year. Let's just keep it with this 1-year contract. We have no guarantees beyond next year. We don't know what Davis Mills is going to be. I think maybe a high-end B tier, or I guess you could put him. Well,
maybe high. I'll probably go B, high-end B.
We'll say high-end B. We can always move these guys around if we feel
the situation calls for it.
Yeah, because I'm looking at guys who might be an A tier. There's not going to be many, so maybe we might end up bumping.
All right, Derek Carr.
Next is Derek Carr, and this one is there's so many variables here, Mike, and that's going to be the case with so many of these where it's context matters. Right, when we get into Ty Simpson, it's Ty Simpson at 16 or even higher feels like a very different conversation to me than Ty Simpson at 33. So with Derek Carr, you're taking in so many factors here where it's his contract, what you might have to trade for him, what might be left of him physically. Where's your head at with Derek Carr?
That's why he's in B, because obviously if he put together the same stats he did with the Saints on the Jets, he would be a Jets Hall of Famer and a Jets legend. There'd be number 4 jerseys everywhere. That's what we're looking for, level of play wise.
Mm-hmm.
But the unknowns are, again, we don't know what his value would be if he came back, because the Saints still pulled his rights or whatever.
Yep.
We'd have to acquire him from the Saints. He did say he'd only come back if he could pursue a Super Bowl, which the Jets are not going to offer him that. So
here's the thing, Mike. I don't think any Super Bowl contender. Maybe the Vikings. I can't see any other team that would be a contender that would actually want him starting for them in 2026.
I have a crazy idea. What if the Rams got him and just said, you sit for a year,
Huh.
then when Stafford retires, then you come in for a couple years while we figure it out.
But
We're going to be good enough where we can't draft a high guy. If they don't like Simpson this year, like you start and then we kind of figure it out and then
I don't think Carr would do that. Like, I think the Rams would be happy to bring him in as a backup. Like, they had Garoppolo's past offseason, given Stafford's injury history. He's tough as hell.
Garoppolo's not even in here. That's one of the guys you missed.
Oh, I did. I forgot Garoppolo. You're right. I did not. I forgot to put Garoppolo. Well, we'll try and rank him at the end if we remember. He'd be like B or C somewhere.
BC, yeah.
Somewhere in that like low end B to high C. But yeah, what was I saying about Carr?
Derek Carr. Stafford, Rams.
Oh, yeah. I think he would. I think I don't know if he'd want to go there. Like, I think if he comes back, he's going to want to play. And we also don't know if Stafford's retiring after 1 year. Like, they're kind of just year to year with him. There's no like actual plan right now. I think Stafford's willing to keep going, and as long as he feels comfortable doing it.
He was the MVP, so
right, as he should be. But yeah, I'm fine putting him B tier here just because of all of the variables with him. I don't know what is left of him physically. I don't know what they'd have to trade. I mean, maybe
like if they're getting 70% of New Orleans Carr, that's probably an A. That's probably A.
Right, then that's an A tier.
But we just don't know. I mean, he hasn't played a year and a half, and he has a major shoulder injury.
Yep, and you have to worry about whatever that contract situation is going to be, because I imagine if they trade for him, they are reworking that contract and figuring out something. So I don't know what his cap it would be. I don't know what they'd be allocating towards him. Again, then you have to trade for him potentially. There's a lot of variables that go into it that prevent me from putting in an A tier, but I'm fine putting him B tier. Do we want to say below or above Davis Mills?
Below.
Yeah, that's
bigger
fair.
investment.
There's fewer variables with Mills, smaller investment. And, if you ask me right now, if Davis Mills or Derek Carr starts 17 games for the Jets next year, who does better? I don't think there's like a definitive answer for that. I really don't think there is.
Gardner Minshew is another. I don't know if there's going to be anybody else in Fields.
It's close to it.
Minshew's, yeah. And I was a Gardner Minshew fan for a long time, but he's regressed and he's hurt and he's older. No.
He's a mid-tier backup at best at this stage. Like, he's not even a high-end backup. There was a point where he was. I wouldn't put him in that list anymore.
They were getting like 3 years ago. I'm like, yeah, why not? But
yeah. But
Tua
Tagovailoa. This is another one that's so loaded. Like, I actually have no idea what's going to happen with him this offseason.
He's the guy I have the worst read on.
Yeah.
Of all these like quarterbacks shuffling around. I have no idea what happens with him.
All I feel confident is that he's not going to be the week one starting quarterback of the Miami Dolphins. But
they've pretty much said as much. J-Mark says C for Tua.
Yeah, and I also
That's probably where I am too.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if he's traded. If he is traded, it's hard to believe they'd trade him to the Jets, right, in division.
Yeah, they wouldn't do that. So it'd be a release and then he signs.
It'd be a release and then he signs. And then what contract? What even kind of contract do you think he'd get at this stage? Like 2 years, $25 million? I don't know.
I mean, he's not. I just don't know how the league views him, because there were times, even as recently as last year, which was like the bad year where everything fell apart. Like, there were times where you got, as Chew donates 5 membership because he is awesome.
MF Chew, you are the man. We say it every single week, but every week you're the man. So we got to keep saying it.
You and Austrian Jet fan are the two manliest of men in this chat. It seems
Absolutely.
Like, because of your
Jeff
financial contributions.
Jeff said, tank for Tua. I'll raise you one better. How about tank with Tua?
Tank because of Tua.
Tank due Tua.
Yeah. So, like, does the league view him as he needs a fresh start because he's still very accurate and still throws with anticipation well? Or does the league view him as kind of a cooked product where he's getting hurt a lot? There's all these years of data now we have that says he can't play as well when it gets cold, which was when the playoffs happened, and you're going to be in New York in December and Buffalo in December, New England in December. The Jets are not the team to pursue Tua. It would not shock me one bit if he is a week one starter somewhere right here, because the market, there's not a lot of great options out there. And there have been Tua led the league in passer rating and yards before. Like, he's not just like this klutz, but you need to build the offense entirely around anticipation, which is what Mike McDaniel did. And he stretched it really as far as he could. And then eventually it broke. and then Tua can do it. Plus, he gets hurt every year.
Yeah.
So Tua might be like, if I'm like the Vikings, I'd take a look at him as like a JJ McCarthy comparison guy. If I have like a young quarterback who's struggling, Atlanta, I may take a look at him as like, all right, let's push our young guy here.
Atlanta makes a lot of sense because one, you're not playing cold weather, so that's
lefty too with Penix. So
that was gonna be my second point. Minnesota, you know, it's tough. I feel like he would not survive in the NFC North.
You play indoors at least.
Yeah, but then he's gonna go to Lambeau. He's gonna go to Lambeau. He's gonna go to Soldier Field.
Yeah, but your home games are indoors.
I know, but those away games if he's playing the Bears on the road in December, dude, he's cooked.
Pretty much the NFC South may be the only division that doesn't have cold road games at some point, right?
AFC South, I mean, the Colts, I guess.
But Colts are indoors, yeah.
The Colts are indoors, so you're not really.
So what? He has to play in one of two divisions.
He feels like Tua just genuinely feels like such a specific player that I'm not sure how many teams actually make sense for him. I think Atlanta does if they want to go that route because it provides extra insurance. Now, bringing in two oft-injured lefty quarterbacks may not be the best way to run a quarterback room.
One of whom has a much stronger arm in Penix.
Yeah. Oh, they're very different types of players, but, you know, Penix has half an ACL left and Tua's got, I was about to say half.
Tua's egg is quite cracked at this point.
Say half a brain. That feels extreme. I wish him all
the there. It's just the parts are a little rearranged.
Yeah. I genuinely am very curious to see where teams, like how teams view him, how the league views him as a quarterback, because he's a very scheme-specific player. He's going to be 28, but like an older 28 where you're worried about the mileage on his body already.
He's got a hip problem too on top of all the other stuff.
And he's had that since college. Like that's nothing new. He's had issues with his frame since college. So, you know, you just wonder when it's going to start to catch up to him. And I think it already kind of did a little bit next year. And again, I hate to say it, like he's one major concussion away from, is this guy playing football again? And that's something that teams have to take into account. So all of that combined, it's hard to imagine any team giving him any kind of significant investment, especially because of the fact that he's just a very difficult scheme fit in a lot of.
The Jets gave him like a 1 year, not vet min, but like a Davis Mills 1 year, $7 million.
I don't think.
How does that change the calculus? Because he's a better quarterback than Davis Mills. So
if they did that and they drafted Ty Simpson, I don't hate that. Like I don't hate that. If they're going in with him as just the guy and they don't have any young developmental guy behind him, whether that's a trade or a draft guy, then they're kind of just punting, because I don't think Tua is going to be a solution, and I'm not confident he gets through an entire season anyway. I feel like C tier is fine for him.
Ahead of Richardson, though.
Yeah, ahead of Richardson and being in C tier.
The difference in physical tools, and they're ranked in the same tier.
Could not be more different quarterbacks, Anthony Richardson, other than the fact that they're both injured a lot. But yeah,
if only Tua's brain was inside of, or Tua before, you know,
I don't know
circumstances. If you know,
I don't want to give Anthony Richardson another.
Yeah, another performance degrader here.
If you put his poise and accuracy and
Anthony Richardson,
not even poise, just his accuracy, his anticipation. If Anthony Richardson threw it to his anticipation, he'd be a starting quarterback, like a damn good one.
Other than that, Miss Lincoln. Now,
next guy, one is somebody that you've proposed, Mike.
I've proposed him a lot. That's why I think he's an A tier for me.
Okay,
because they're gonna. It sounds like they're gonna release Geno Smith, which I would just keep him if I'm the Raiders, and then ease your backup to Fernando Mendoza.
I don't know.
Now they got to go get another backup. There's not a lot of great ones out there.
I got to look up his contract to see what the ramifications are of like releasing him.
I think they're just going to eat the money.
Yeah. So if they cut him, yeah, it's a lot of money. So they're eating 18.5 million dead cap if they release him pre-June 1st. Post June 1st, the exact same. They can't do post June 1st, I guess. I don't know.
Even in the
they save $8 million.
Even in the bad year in Seattle at the end. When he was traded to the Raiders and Darnold went to the Seahawks, there was a very popular movement from a lot of people who know their stuff saying that the Seahawks downgraded. So that's how Geno Smith was thought of.
I said that too, Mike. I hand up, man. I said that.
And that's how he was discussed a year ago. And then he has the nightmare year with the Raiders with a coach who's about 200 years old and Pete Carroll that is. Hey, look, some Jets fans want an experienced coach. Instead of Aaron Glenn, how Pete Carroll do? He's gone.
A terrible
offensive line was painful to watch, and it was Pete Carroll's, goofus son running that offensive line. who got Ashton Genty and Geno Smith almost killed on various occasions. That might be the worst wide receiver room in the league. Really, if they didn't throw the ball to Brock Bowers, they had no way to really move the ball. That's a situation where nothing went right, and then Geno was just pressing like crazy, and then there's a lot of sacks and a lot of picks. Jets are going to be probably a worse team next year record-wise than the Raiders, because the Raiders are going to have Mendoza, and they got a lot of cap space too. But right now, I mean, come on. Which situation's better for a quarterback? I don't think it's close right now. It's the Jets. Jets have a better line. They have better receivers, a better running back. You could argue, I get Kubiak's going to be calling plays, but, I mean, Reich is, an experienced guy who's done a lot as an offensive coordinator. The odds of him bouncing back away from the Raiders this year, no matter where he goes, I think are higher than a lot of people are giving him credit for. That's why I think he's an A tier. And you know what? I know that the idea of this veteran mentor quarterback, it's kind of overplayed a little bit because they're not training guys to replace them. They don't really do that. But I feel like Geno's a guy who kind of understands the situation. He's like, look, I know I'm going to be a stopgap. If they draft a young guy, they draft a young guy. I'm QB1 until they tell me otherwise. I feel like he's A tier.
Yeah, look, I don't know what kind of contract he'd get, but I do think he's the best quarterback that we've talked about so far, probably. I mean, maybe Tua, depending what's left of Derek Carr. I know Geno was rough last year, like one of the roughest watches in football. He was not Justin Fields levels bad, but he was bad. Like all of the positives that you got with him and his play style in Seattle just kind of completely evaporated, and you get all the negatives with him. He was a poor man's Jameis Winston last season, which that's bad. Like that's
really quick veteran Jet fan. Geno's a respectable vet. The Raiders may keep him as veteran insurance. I thought that too, but all the reports that I've seen seem to say they're going to release Geno, and then just Fernando Mendoza's walking into QB1, and then they're just going to roll with him.
Yeah, it sounds like he's gone. I forget what the latest update was, but I'm pretty sure
I would keep him, but I don't think John Spytek is.
Now it'd be fun having Geno return to the Jets. You
can really test this. Like, is it just the Jets theory? Because then
the thing is, there's a good chance it would be viewed that way, Mike, because there's a good chance he's cooked. Like, we also have to remember he's 36 years old. He's physically not the player he was even 3 years ago, 4 years ago.
You forget what a great athlete Geno Smith was.
He was. Now he's kind of more of a statue back there. He's not going to be a super mobile guy, which, with the offensive line is not going to be as big of an issue as with the Jets as it was with the Raiders. But, I think it's a riskier proposition than you might think. I don't think you're going to get Seahawks version of Geno Smith. I think it's much more likely you get some semblance of what he was last year with the Raiders. But
what if they get last year in Seattle, Geno?
Well, even last year in Seattle, he was still good. Like I thought he was still a fine player. The interceptions and turnovers were up, but I think the highs were still there with him. I don't know how much of those highs you're going to get at this stage. I'm fine throwing him top of B or even low A, just because you wouldn't have to trade for him likely. So
he's the highest of the ones we've discussed.
Yeah, so you wouldn't have to trade for him. So you're signing him to what would likely be a very reasonable contract in free agency. I imagine it'd be a 1 to 2 year deal where the understanding is he's a bridge starter who is possibly even competing for the starting job, Mike. I don't even know. In fact, I would be surprised. It's almost a better question. How many guys that we're going to talk about today would be guaranteed the starting job of the Jets?
Kyler. I'm just looking down at the list that we have right now. I'm not going to spoil the names, but I would say
Kyler and Carr are like the only two, I think.
Malik Willis.
Willis as well, but they're not going to get Willis. And maybe Mac Jones.
Brissett.
Maybe Brissett. Maybe. I don't know.
That's it.
That's probably it.
That's it.
Cousins is getting guaranteed the job. I don't think Geno's getting guaranteed a job. Like, they're going to have some sort of a competition. I don't think it's going to be like last year where they just handed it to Fields, unless they bring in one or two, of these guys that we're going to talk about, which maybe, but I don't know.
I'm fine a room together.
What?
Is Voltron a room together and his combined guys?
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. I think that's kind of what they're looking at. I think they're going to do something similar to what the Giants did last year, where they just threw a bunch of darts, no pun intended, at the board. They brought it. That legitimately was not intended. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Hey, I didn't do the numbers thing yet today. We'll see if that comes up. But they brought in Dart. They brought in Russell Wilson. They brought in Jameis Winston. They're like, you know what? One of these guys is going to do something for us next year. And they were right. It was Dart. But one of them did do something, and Jameis was all right. Russ was not. I didn't put Russ on this list either. I guess I could have, but I don't
go. You are married to Sierra. Like, you have no motivation to play football anymore.
Yeah.
Like, dude, you won. You got a Super Bowl. You're probably going to the Hall of Fame. You won.
We could put Geno A tier. Again, I maybe would end up drop. Maybe he's like low end A tier. He's not
Yeah, he's the lowest A possible.
I don't think he's my favorite option because I have significant pause that he would be good, but it's a pretty low investment. You're not trading for him, and I think he would understand the assignment of what he's being brought in to do.
Tyrod's in D.
Yeah,
Perfect
honestly,
backup. Fanside actually talked to him at the Super Bowl. He seems like an incredibly nice guy, but his time has come.
I'm close to putting him in Justin Fields tier. Like,
yeah, just as like a remnant of last year. Probably
imagine I want to put him in Fields tier. Like, imagine if he was. There we go. Imagine if he was the week 1 starting quarterback. Like, what message are the Jets sending if they are starting Taylor week 1? And honestly, you could maybe argue that for Minshew too, but Minshew at least doesn't have the stink of being there last year and being terrible. And I mean, I guess he's by default less of an injury concern than Tyrod because pretty much everybody is less of an injury concern. Minshew has his own injury stuff, but the optics of running it back with Taylor, I don't think you could even. I think he's got to be Justin Fields tier.
Jacoby Brissett.
Now we're talking.
I think he's above Geno.
I agree. Depending on what they have to trade to get him, I'm more confident.
Cheaper than Kyler.
Yes.
Frank Reich knows and likes him, but he knows the offense very well. Fresh off the best year of his career. Not like pushing 40 ancient. Probably he's more likely than I think people are giving him credit for.
Well,
I think the Cardinals like do draft a young quarterback early on.
That's what I'm saying. I think it just comes down to if they're going to start fresh. Like, Kyler's gone. I know there's some stuff out there.
Where do you think he goes if not the Jets?
Kyler? Well, Pittsburgh made sense, but now it sounds like Rodgers is coming back.
Please have some respect for yourself, Steelers.
Sounds like Rodgers is going back there. Well, they got Mike McCarthy now, so it makes
they got to do the waiting game and be beholden to. He's gonna be 43.
Omar Khan, GM said it was yesterday. He was like, it's not going to be like last year, and I was like,
it's going to be longer.
More drawn out. We're going to find out in September.
They just don't know who. He just pulls up out of the tunnel like, oh shit, he's back.
He Hassan Reddick's them and shows up in October, and they're like, where you been, man?
He was saying some weird. I know that sounds,
Who, Rodgers?
Yeah, loses some meaning when you say that about Aaron Rodgers, but particularly weird stuff about like medicine lately and bathing and clothing. I'm like, okay, it's getting.
Mike, do you know how free I am? No, like, you just said that.
Like, I didn't search it out; it just popped up on the, But
this is the first I've heard of that. And do you understand how freeing that feeling is? That I missed that news cycle about Aaron Rodgers.
Then we don't have to. It wasn't a news cycle; it was like an ML football misquoted tweet thing.
That's
but
fine. They blocked me on Twitter, so that's fine.
I blocked them, so
I don't need to see that.
I just hate how they do the graphics thing.
Oh, well, they're just like
they'll be like, he grew from 6 foot to 6'3", and they'll be like 3 inches, and then the guy in there, I'm like, oh, stop that!
It's all
knock it off. It's disgusting.
It's engagement bait. That's all it is. Brissett, though, yeah, I'm happy putting him in A tier. Very reasonable contract. $9 million next year cap hit. The thing is, I just don't know if Arizona starts fresh at quarterback. I think Kyler's gone. I don't know where he goes. Murray back to that point. I really don't know. But I think they would prefer to keep Brissett is the read I have on it right now. Even if they draft someone to pair with him, I don't know if they're going to be in a Ty Simpson range, just in a weird spot for that. But maybe they draft someone on day 2. Maybe they end up, trading for a young guy as well. To
everybody keeps saying Malik Willis to them. I don't know because Packers connection and
there's a lot of noise about that. And if they do get Malik Willis, Mike,
imagine looking at that division and going Nate Hackett and Malik Willis, and we're good.
Hey man, listen, not our problem. Not our problem. Best of luck to our old friend Mike LaFleur. But I
feel strange kinship with the Cardinals is like in that Browns, Jets, Cardinals.
A little bit.
Mediocrity, not even mediocrity, like loser tier.
They did at least make a Super Bowl within the last 20 years, so that's something.
Wow, well, 20 years.
The Jets didn't do it. The Jets haven't made a Super Bowl since 1968, so or technically 69. But I'm happy putting Brissett in the A tier. If they do get Willis, Mike, that I think would open the door more for Jacoby Brissett to be traded because that'd be a lot of money you're paying Willis already. Maybe you want a competent backup in there with Willis, but Brissett feels like someone who could compete for a starting job next year. If they bring in Malik Willis and they pay him $35 million a year, whatever he's going to get, something crazy. It sounds like he's getting a crazy contract. If they're paying Willis $30 million a year plus, he's the starting quarterback. So I think if they can get a fourth for Jacoby Brissett, probably better off doing that than keeping him on the roster, would be my thought on that. I'm happy with A tier for Brissett. Obviously, there's a Frank Reich connection too. I think he's just a better option than Geno. I'd feel more confident that they'd get better quarterback play out of him next year with Brissett than with Geno.
Let's do Kyler.
You want to jump to Kyler?
Let's do Kyler.
Let's jump to Kyler.
So, Kyler. Again, I've said this before. Like, there are obviously problems with a guy that's small. I don't know how well his game's going to age. There are the concerns about the work ethic stuff. We have no way of verifying any of that. It's all just rumors. And then people who don't like him say he doesn't work hard, and people who do like him say he does. So, like, we're not going to get anywhere on that. Let's just evaluate him as the player, Kyler Murray, the player. You can't, as a Jets fan, I've said this before, look at some of these out. Like, look at the guys that are some of the guys on this list. You know, Mac Jones, Tanner McKee,
Gardner Minshew,
Davis Mills, more of the higher end ones.
Yeah.
You can't look at them and be like, or Kirk Cousins, who's not on here because he's probably, oh no, he is on there, but
yeah, we'll get to him.
Like, you can't be like, I definitely want those guys, and then go Kyler Murray and go, no. Like, the best quarterback on this list is Kyler Murray. So no matter what else comes in, I know there's a lot of contract they have to take on if they traded for him. I know they have to give up a good pick to get him too. I know that may impact next year's quarterback decision because you're still committed to him for a long time. I don't know how about he lucked out a little bit because he went to indoors in Arizona. I don't know about how he'd play in the cold in New York, a guy that small, but you cannot look at this list and say the best quarterback here, Kyler Murray, is like, no, don't go there. You can't put him anywhere below B. Like, he's got to be A or B, right? Kyler Murray, of the guys on this list, would win the most games next year for the Jets. And if the goal is winning the most games, then you got to look at him.
Yeah, I agree. Again, it depends with a lot of these guys, and depends even, especially with Kyler Murray, what assets you are putting in to get him on the roster. What does his contract look like? Because you're probably reworking it to some degree, right? What pick are you giving up to trade for him? I assume he's going to be traded for. I assume he's not getting released. If he's released, then that's better. Then you're allocating fewer resources. But if you have to trade, they're not going to trade a second round pick. They're not trading one of those seconds for him.
No.
If they find a way to trade the equivalent of a third, like maybe they trade him a fourth and a fifth or something, is that worth it? Like, is that better than just trading for Jacoby Brissett or signing Geno Smith? I don't know. You could make the argument, I think, either way. I do think there are some personality conflict concerns with, I think someone like a Jacoby Brissett feels more like a Frank Reich, Aaron Glenn style quarterback than a Kyler Murray does. So I think that would be, that would be a little confusing.
Why does Aaron Glenn keep hiring offensive coaches that don't like mobile quarterbacks if he does?
Well, that's the other thing, is that the Reich hire also feels very much not like a Kyler. Like, it would feel weird if Frank Reich basically came out of virtual retirement, like he was about to retire, to coach a quarterback that he's never coached anything like before. Like, that would be
Bryce Young, I guess, is.
Okay, you're right. Bryce Young for a year.
And he didn't even want that. He wanted Stroud. So
that did not go well, and you're absolutely correct. The reports at the time suggested he wanted Stroud. So it would be a significant challenge for Frank Reich for him to look, because he's going to have a significant say in who they bring as the quarterback. For him to look at this quarterback market and say, I want Kyler Murray. I just don't think he's going to do that. So maybe it's more so me thinking like it's less likely, but because of the weird fit, it would just feel like a square peg in a round hole. I would put him in B tier, I think. There was a point where
do you disagree with the statement that he's the best quarterback here? Or?
No, I agree. He probably is. It's certainly the highest ceiling of any of the maybe you could argue Malik Will's higher ceiling. I don't know, whatever. But he certainly has. I mean, we've seen him be a top 10 quarterback in the past. At his peak,
made a couple Pro Bowls when the Pro Bowl kind of meant something a little bit. Got the Cardinals to the playoffs.
Absolutely, but he's small. The injury concerns, the attitude concerns, the contract, and all of the baggage that comes with him is why I'd probably drop them to B tier, because I think Jacoby Brissett and Geno Smith have less baggage than Kyler Murray does, even if they are probably not as good as Kyler Murray is.
J Mark says Kyler is A, and everyone from A to C is a tier below.
I mean, look, again, we're grading on a curve.
Yeah, we're grading on a curve because
we're grading on a curve. Like, no one's going to say Jacoby Brissett is an amazing quarterback option for any.
If there was like a Stafford guy, he's not available. If there was like a Stafford level player available now, like we barely would even consider him because he wouldn't come to the Jets.
That tells me then, J Mark, that tells me then that you just think Kyler is a tier above everyone. Like you think Kyler is so clearly the best option above everyone else, which I just don't agree with. I think just because of all the baggage.
Purely, I know we have to consider purely the act of drop back, find a guy, throw the ball, or make a play. He's the best. So.
Yes. It's just all of the other factors, the contract, the attitude, the injury, the age and size, I think is also a concern. Like I don't know what
that's the bigger concern to me than the attitude, because that's at least like kind of provable and we have some data on it. The attitude is just we're never going to get an answer on that. It's all subjective. We don't know who's doing what. Like
we don't know Kyler.
That could have been when he was young and he matured a little bit. Like who knows?
100%. I don't know. I'm not Aaron Glenn's friend. I'm not talking to Aaron Glenn about what he thinks of Kyler Murray's personality, right? I'm just guessing that Kyler Murray, personality-wise and play style-wise, isn't what the Jets are looking for this offseason. Could be wrong, but because it feels like a weird fit to me, that's why I'm saying B tier. But I get where you're coming from, J-Mark.
All right, so if Kyler is B,
we'll put him top.
Jeff says bring back Jeff George. I guess he's kind of the original Kyler Murray.
Well, listen, Jeff George, Joe Flacco, who's the next guy on this list, they're about the same age.
Jeff George had a very good career, especially after leaving his original team. And
yeah, sure.
Went to Atlanta. I think he led the league in passing with Atlanta one year. So
maybe. Let's throw Flacco in D tier and move on, Mike.
Yeah.
Let's throw. You can't.
People keep trying to lump him into like the Jets quarterbacks who got away thing. I'm like, nah.
That would be his fourth stint with the Jets, I believe.
You know what? I've always said Italian quarterbacks used to be an institution. We had Montana, we had Marino. Now who do we got? We got Jimmy G and Flacco.
No, Mike, you have Tommy DeVito. Mike.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Tommy DeVito.
We used to have the two best. Used to be like because there was the winner was Montana and the stat guy was Marino, and they were both Italians. Yeah. Now we have neither. So that's why Flacco is not in Justin Fields tier.
But you have aura, Mike. You have pizzazz.
He reminds me of like Jay Cutler on the Dolphins when he was on the Bengals, because there's just this air of like, I do not give a shit, but I'm just good at this, and this is how you do it.
I just had a epiphany, Mike. Sorry, not to completely ignore you. Is pizzazz like the millennial way of saying aura? Is that like the old person way of saying aura?
Possibly. Who am I? Like the chapter president of
I don't know. Millennium? I'm raising a question to you. I'm sorry.
Flacco has this like, I'm getting 2 more years for my pension. Let me just go and work on some cold cases and then retire. Cop.
Sure.
That seems like Joe Flacco to me. He's just got that air about him.
Yeah, he's very comfortably D tier. Fine, as veteran Jet fan said, passable QB2. Yeah, fine. He's a fine QB2. Not somebody that should be starting as your week 1 quarterback. Like that's a mess if you're in that situation.
Will Levis.
Old
Billy Jeans.
Mr. Mayo. Will Levis.
Levis would be high end of beat, like near Kyler. Of all the failed young quarterbacks, take a swing, try somewhere else, he's my favorite. Now, he has a shoulder injury, a gross one, too. He showed a picture of it. There was this big, like, mass in his thing. I'm like, ugh. Yeah. So we need to know if that's fixed, because the only reason you're acquiring Will Levis is because of the arm. Why he's higher than Anthony Richardson is Anthony Richardson had good O-line, very good weapons, Jonathan Taylor, Shane Steichen, like, everything theoretically a young quarterback needs, and he's still struggling. It's just all projection. Will Levis, I don't want to say it's like Darnold level, but
Brian Callahan, man.
Brian Callahan. I mean, and then what was it? End of Vrabel? He had Vrabel's last year, I think.
2023, yeah, because Callahan was 2024, yeah.
So he had end of Vrabel and then Brian Callahan, and look, Cam Ward, obviously some of his struggles early on were just rookie getting adjusted to the league stuff, but then Mike McCoy becomes the head coach. Mike McCoy, remember those old Chargers teams? Like, those were not insanely high-flying teams. And then when he came in as the head coach and they got rid of Callahan and as the OC, like, as a play caller, excuse me, you saw market improvement. So that leads me to believe, again with like the Davis Mills thing, with Levis, by the way, has a much better arm than Davis Mills, and he's mobile too. He can make some plays with his legs. Levis has never had a line as good as the Jets have right now. He's never had a receiver like Garrett Wilson. He's never had a running back like Breece Hall. I feel a lot more confident in him being a figures it out in a new spot guy than Richardson or even Mills, honestly. Because I think the arm is legitimately something to work with. And I think Tennessee, they're going to probably get some sort of veteran backup for Cam Ward. I think Levis kind of looks like a vestige of the old regime right now. So I think he might be gone, and I think the Jets could be a halfway decent landing spot for him. I don't think he'll be amazing, but I think there is, in kind of a Fieldsy way, which that didn't work out. Maybe they don't crap out twice in a row. I think there's some upside.
Yeah, I like Will Levis a lot as an option for a couple reasons. One, like you said, I think he is the best of those like young quarterbacks that just might need a change of scenery. Probably the best one on the market, pending health. And I think because of that injury history, because he's coming off that shoulder injury, I really don't think it would take much to get him. I don't think we're talking. I don't even know if it's a fourth. I think it's lower than that. Like he's got what 1 year left on his rookie contract, so he's a free agent in the offseason after 2026 because he was drafted in 2023. He's coming off a major injury, and he's clearly not in any plans for Tennessee's future. So really, the only value he holds to them currently is a possible but 1 year backup. But if I was Tennessee, I'd rather get a veteran in there to help mentor Cam Ward instead of bringing back Levis as QB2. So because of that, I think there's a good chance he's on the move. And I really don't think his value is going to be that high. So if you want to just take a swing on him, give up a 5th round pick, maybe you even swap day 3 picks. Like it legitimately could be a situation where you swap a 5th and a 7th or something.
Would Saleh help the Jets is what I'm wondering.
I mean, I don't know if he'd be like have a vendetta against them, right?
I don't think he likes them.
We do know there's some history here because the Jets just traded with the Titans not that long ago for the Jarvis
Brownlee.
So the two front offices, Mike Borgonzi and Darren Muji, have experience working together very, very recently. I think it makes a lot of sense. I'm almost like, if he's starting week 1, obviously, then it's like, okay, he probably won a quarterback battle. He did some decent things. I'd be curious to see who he's competing with. I think if you bring in Will Levis, you're probably also bringing in a veteran of some kind. Maybe you don't draft somebody. Maybe you draft someone in day 3 then if you bring in Levis, because Levis is your young QB swing. I think it's worth it. Somebody said I'd take Levis over Murray. You could sell me on that just because obviously
I wouldn't, but they're close.
Like again, they're just
not in terms of quarterback skill, in terms of opportunity for
Correct. It's opportunity cost. It's all of the baggage associated with Kyler Murray and all the assets and resources you might have to put in to get him. Which it's not going to be. We're not going to have to go a 1st round pick for Kyler Murray, but there's a lot more. It's a more complicated situation than Levis, who feels very readily available. Like I think Levis has a better chance of getting traded than Jacoby Brissett and Davis Mills, because Brissett and Mills are providing value to their current teams. I really don't think Levis is providing much value to Titans, and that's somebody that I want to take a swing on.
I think Dable's going to bring in like one of his guy backups, and then that'll be QB2. And then
I'm fine with him B tier, but low key, Mike, you could sell me an A tier because I'd be very excited if they trade for Levis. Like it's almost, I almost kind of want to bump him up because of the Richardson thing, where it's like Richardson's clearly
tough twice in a row to do the whole young quarterback failed in the other spot upside. It'd be tough to do that twice in a row.
It would be, which is why I think they bring in a veteran, which is why if Levis was the week 1 starter, that means he probably beat the veteran out.
He also seems like a guy who like looks great in practice. Big guy arm, like he seems like
again. Obviously, the big thing here is health. We'll put a B just because we don't know what the shoulder's like.
Yes.
Ahead of Kyler.
Talk about a guy with health concerns.
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins. He is end of C, above D for me.
Below Richardson.
Maybe above Richardson.
Okay.
Behind Tua. Behind Tua.
I'd put him ahead of Tua.
I wouldn't, because everything you say about like Tua, which Cousins isn't really small, but he's always been skinnier his whole career. Not a great arm. Injury history. We don't know how long he's even going to be here, because Tua, I don't think is going to play like 10 more years in the NFL. I think, his time is running out. You can apply that all to Cousins, but Cousins is also 38. And I think with these recent media things he's been doing, these analyst things, I think he very clearly is either going to get some sort of analyst deal or color deal after he retires. I think he's already kind of setting that up. So this to me looks very clearly like a guy who, I don't want to say he's checked out, but he seems like a guy who's thinking about post-football more than football. So on top of that, and then you put in the fact he's getting worse, and you talk about Geno being a statue in the pocket.
Oh yeah,
Kirk Cousins can't even like move within the pocket. At least Geno can kind of wiggle a little bit. Everything has to be perfect for Kirk Cousins to get a throw off right now. obviously brain processing wise, he's gold standard. Nobody's anything, and he's a nice guy. People seem to like him generally, even though he said some things in the past I don't like. But I'd probably put Kirk Cousins in C tier. I think I was against him beforehand. I'm against him now. If they did this a couple years ago, then that's different. But that's where he is right now.
I agree with C. I'd probably still put him ahead of Tua just because I can see the fit more than I could see it with Tua. Again, I also don't know what kind of contract you'd be looking at with the Tua situation. With Cousins, it's an easier projection for me. And I also thought he was passable when he played with Atlanta last year. Like not good. I know they I think they went 5-3 with him as a starter. Some of that wasn't necessarily his doing. I don't think he was like especially amazing and lighting it up or anything, but he was fine. He was passable. And I think if you bring him in and he starts, 14 games for you, 15 games, you're going to win a handful of games. You'll be a reasonable NFL offense. It won't look as bad as it did last year. Like the lows won't be as low as they were with Justin Fields. C is fine though, because I think he's very clearly still below the other options. Whether it's Kyler Murray or Davis Mills or Derek Carr. Like obviously Carr, there's a lot of variables there, but I'm fine putting him in C tier. Maybe you cool if I put him ahead of Tua?
Yeah, you can.
I gave you Richardson C tier, so
you can.
We'll say Cousins top of C tier right now.
I have a visual aid for this next guy.
For Tanner McKee.
Yep, it's right here in my hand. You see that?
I don't. I mean, is it?
You see, like right there, what I'm pointing at?
Sure.
That's every meaningful snap Tanner McKee has ever played in the NFL.
Oh, so lame.
So that's because Tanner McKee is being talked about in this fan base like he's this sure thing, a big guy, strong. We used to make fun of that. Big, strong white guy who went to a school that you actually have to go to class to play football at Stanford. Like that was almost stereotypical for when guys got picked. And then he hasn't played. He's played week 18 games and preseason games. He's looked okay in some of them. He looked better in ones a couple of years ago. This year he didn't look that great. And he's going to be 27. I have so little to go on. When looking at McKee as a quarterback, I can't put him any higher than like C. I think he'll be okay. He has a big arm. It seems like the Eagles don't necessarily want to trade him, which implies that they like him, which I think is good. But the way he's being discussed, like that, he's the guy that's getting me pissed off with Kyler. To be like, we can't have Kyler Murray, Tanner McKee, yeah. How do you square that? How do you square that?
Well, again, it's just
as Vinicius says really quick before, and Tanner McKee is a psyop.
I think people are connecting the dots with the Stanford connection with Frank Reich. I think they're looking at Tanner McKee and saying, "Well,
he's not a Stanford alum. He was there for a year. Like he's not
like he has ties to the university. That's why you're getting those connections." Yeah. I don't know. I think people are looking at the upside of it and saying maybe there's a chance that he's something. I don't think most are like he's definitely going to be good. I think people that are like super animately anti Kyler and pro Tanner McKee are it's more so because they're anti Kyler Murray. But yeah, I agree. It's pretty silly to stick your nose up at Kyler and say, oh, we need to get Tanner McKee. I'd put McKee at the back of B tier because I'd at least be interested and intrigued by him as a quarterback option more so than I would anybody else in C tier. Where with Richardson, I'm pretty confident he sucks, and with Kirk and Tua, there's just not really any upside there. I think there's at least upside with McKee, which is why I'd be fine putting him in B tier, but I'd say bottom of B tier is
I can't even do that because like even if we got a couple of starts, even if he started 5 games and went 2-3 and whatever, like at least there's some extended like series of plays we can judge. We don't have that. No, are we going to evaluate the preseason games from years ago or week 18 when guys are rested? Like we have nothing other than he has a big arm and he seems like a smart guy. That's the only that's his qualifications, beginning and end. And Dick Sirianni seems to like him. That's it.
Again, you wouldn't be bringing him in to be the starting quarterback. You'd be bringing him in to compete for the starting job. Like it wouldn't be like you bring him in with I don't know, Jacoby Brissett and then Drew Aller or Carson back and say, hey, compete. You three compete for the starting job. Whoever wins the job. And then Tanner McKee wins the job. Like we're talking about him as a week 1 starter here. The scenario that he's a week 1 starter is if he won the starting job in the summer. And if that's the case, I'm be decently intrigued about what he could do with the Jets. That's why I'm saying B tier. Veteran Jet fans, if they brought in Parks Frazier, Ken Patullo, McKee would have made more sense. Yeah, they didn't bring any of those Eagles guys in.
Parks Frazier is with the Eagles actually now still, so
That's right. And Patula, where Patula go again?
I don't think he's got another job yet.
Really? I thought he wasn't like I thought it was Miami.
Oh, it might be Miami.
Yeah, he's passing game coordinator for the Dolphins. Oh, that's right. He replaced Nate Hackett.
No,
that's right. Nate Hackett, who was briefly hired by the Dolphins before his OC job with the Cardinals.
And Bobby Slowick, what a
and the Jets
nightmare blunt rotation. Biggums P. Powell, Joe Milton, same sort of thing. Sort of thing.
Milton, I'm even less like I don't know. Milton's even feels like even more of a project maybe than McKee, but maybe I'm just.
Is he? They have like the same number of starts.
How many actually? Milton might have more. McKee started what, 1 game, 2 games?
2. I think they both have 2 starts.
They both have 2 starts. Yeah, I don't know. Well, I guess the other downside, maybe I'm going to convince myself C tier here, is because it depends on what you're giving up. Because you got to remember that you're getting 1 year of this guy. Like you're giving up.
It reminds me. Remember when Sam Howell had a ton of hype?
Yeah. Well, Howell ended up being like okay, I guess. Like a fine okay.
You sure about that?
He was okay. He had a decent season maybe with Washington as like a.
Didn't he throw like 20 picks?
It wasn't good, but I'm not still like he wasn't like unplayable bad.
Well, is that what we're shooting for with these acquisitions? Is not unplayable bad?
Obviously not. I'll bump him down to C tier because you're getting 1 year of team control on his contract as well for a guy who was a day 3 pick and has no discernible starting experience.
And he's old. He's 27.
He's 25.
He's not old, but older for.
He'll be 26 in April. He's 25. So
is he?
Yeah, I checked.
I apologize for getting that wrong then.
Well, Mike, you have to take into account his nickname on Pro Football Reference, which is the Mormon Missile, which I didn't know he was Mormon.
I thought Zach Wilson was the Mormon Missile.
Well, he was the Mormon Mahomes. That was his nickname.
Oh, obviously.
Yeah, you gotta know this stuff, man. I didn't know. Actually, you know what? We'll have to put him in C tier because another Mormon quarterback for the Jets so soon.
No
one would be a tough sell.
So what can't we do? We can't do Mormons. We can't do West Coast quarterbacks.
No BYU.
Ohio State. No, we can't do that.
There's no Mormon and no BYU is generally they'll go hand in hand, so that's good.
Running quarterbacks who need to work on accuracy. We can't do any of them anymore. Like
remember, they also can't draft Ohio State linebackers or hybrid linebackers, or edge rushers.
Oh yeah, because of a guy who's in some legal trouble.
Yeah, or because of Vernon Golston, they can't.
Yeah,
they can't do that either. There's a lot of things.
No Alabama guys. D. Milliner, no Alabama cornerbacks. None of them.
No.
But Missouri, we got to get Zion Young because Sheldon Richardson was good. So
no Western Kentucky wide receivers.
I don't think that'll be a problem.
We'll see.
Mac Jones.
Feels unlikely. Just generally
unlikely. C. This screams Kyle Shanahan carry job.
I'm going to say C only because, like, they would definitely have to give up a decent pick to get him. Like, the Niners do not want to trade him.
No.
So you might even have to give up a second to get him. And there's just no world where I'm giving up a second for Mac Jones.
Spencer Rattler, B.
Oh, we'll skip ahead of the Rattler. I agree. If they can get Rattler.
I want to get some of the quicker ones out. Rattler's a B. They won't trade him. I think there's enough there to work with. I don't love I wouldn't love him over McKee. It's the same sort of thing, like barely any start. But Rattler at least has more starting experience. I think he actually played okay this year under Kellen Moore. I think they needed to play Tyler Shuck, so they just threw him in anyway, and it was the right call. But I don't think Rattler was like bench worthy. I remember he was really good against the Niners when they played.
A good question, Mike. If you are the Niner or if you're the Saints,
okay,
what do you consider trading Rattler for? Like if some team comes calling with a 4th round pick, are you taking that or are you saying no?
3.
A 3rd? Because he's got 2 years.
Now they lit a 4th on fire for Devon Vele, so they may just want to get that back.
It's true. Hey, listen, I got Devon Vele still on my dynasty team. I'm holding out hope there. He's going to be 35 years old before he breaks out. But he's a very cheap, affordable backup option for them who would play decent last year. I see no reason why they'd want to trade him. And I don't think any team would be calling with a 3rd round pick. So I agree that it's unlikely that he's going to get traded. If the Jets could get him for like a 4th or a 5th, then I'm all over it. But that seems unlikely. But yeah, B tier is fine.
Malik Willis. This is making me lose my mind. The fact that people are saying it's a foregone conclusion that Malik Willis is going to go get $30 million a year or more.
Yeah.
Whenever, find me the guy in NFL history that had a couple nice starts as a fill-in guy, signed a huge contract, and then fulfilled it.
Matt Flynn. Oh, never mind.
Oh,
I said Matt Flynn. Oh, wait, never mind.
We got some older viewers in the chat right now, including a veteran Jet fan. Remember Rob Johnson? He literally had one good start with the Jaguars. The Bills paid him like $25 million in the 90s, which was a lot. And he sucked so much that his nickname, which is one of my favorite nicknames ever, became Robo-Sack, and then he got benched.
Would you say that he robbed them, Mike?
He did. Yes, he did. And then who's the other one I just had on the tip of my tongue?
I don't know.
Matt Flynn. There's Matt Schaub. I remember like before. Like he might be one of them, but there's really not that many. Malik Willis has thrown 89 pass attempts because you're not signing him off the Titans. So throw that out there. Titans don't count. It's Packers. 89 pass attempts. Yeah. Anybody can look good for 3 starts in the NFL if you have enough baseline talent. Zach Wilson had 3 start stretches where he looked okay. You can do it for 3, especially when you have Matt LaFleur and this collection of receivers. You can absolutely do it. I think Malik Willis deserves a start as a shot as a starter. I almost said a start as a shotter.
Yeah.
Like they should give him a chance. To pay him that amount of money, that might sink your team. Because, again, he looked good in week 15 against this team. He had 20 good throws. Like, that's not enough to say this is our franchise guy. In year what? It's going to be his 5th year in the league, I think. Like, he's not completely like this young, unproven guy. Some team's going to sign Billy Volek. That's a really good throwback I remember, too. I think the Chargers tried to sign him in the Titans signed him after Phillip Rivers. Didn't work out. Same sort of thing. He was Phillip Rivers' backup. Same sort of thing. The Jets paying him, $90 million over 3 years? Tell me that doesn't just feel like death, like instant death for this team.
Yeah, they can't do that. And I don't think they will. I think it's largely a product of the market just being so scarce that he's going to get a contract like that because teams see the upside with him. I mean, we also remember Malik Willis coming out of the draft, coming out of Liberty. There was talk about him being like a first-round pick for a while. That was the conversation. I mean, we don't have to go back that far to remember the infamous Breece Hall conversation. Remember that when the Jets drafted Breece Hall and was it PFF George was like, the Jets, Malik Willis was right there. And they took Breece Hall in the second round. What are they doing?
That sounds like him too.
Those are the conversations.
You're terrible. You're awful.
Yes, you're terrible. You awful. You suck. You have Michael Carter. Why'd you take Breece Hall?
And then years later, the Jets, I know they had a chance to get rid of Breece Hall and sign Malik Willis. They didn't take it, but
it technically could still happen. But
it sounds so much like him. I forgot all about that. That was great.
But yeah, that was the conversation because Malik Willis was like a guy who a lot of people thought might go in the first round. And then he kind of fell to the third round and then fell a lot farther than people thought. So there is hype around him. And I think the league thinks highly of him. And because of that scarce market, that's why he's going to end up getting something crazy. But I'm totally in agreement with you, Mike. The Jets should not be the team to pay $30+ million to Malik Willis. And I would be shocked if they were. I just don't think you do that, especially after what just happened with Justin Fields. You're doing this with a guy who has even smaller sample size with Malik Willis.
And a worse arm.
With Malik Willis. Now, it's more of it's the smaller sample size works for and against you in that argument because you could say, there's more evidence of Fields being bad, but there's also just not enough evidence of Willis being good to give him that much money. So I'd put him in C tier because of that, Mike.
Yeah.
Because of the contract. I can't, in good faith, put him in B tier because you're just giving him that much money.
Marcus Mariota's in C tier too, just because that would be extremely. I'd put him over Cousins. He's got a little more left in the tank than him, but a couple years ago might have been more inspiring. I think he was okay in Washington, but
I'd consider low end B tier. Like if you pair him with Ty Simpson,
maybe. I just don't see him moving the needle too much.
If you pair him with Ty Simpson, like
now let's talk about Ty Simpson. If you want
I guess
to put Mariota there.
I'm going to put Mariota back into B, but we'll maybe move him down depending on what we do with Ty Simpson here.
I keep going back and forth with I feel like every Jets fan says if Ty Simpson's there at 33, you're taking him.
Yes.
But I'm really going back and forth on 16 because this team should not be in a position to I know that next year's better, but look, if they get a read on this guy and they really think he's capable of being the guy,
Yeah.
to be like, well, because we want to hedge our bets for next year, we're not going to take him. That's how foolish decisions get made. So I don't necessarily want to do that. It wouldn't be my number one choice. I'd still want to stick till next year. But again, we've talked about Ty Simpson ad infinitum on this show. A lot of things to like. I don't think anybody says he's not deserving of going in the first round this year. It was illuminating at the combine because he was struggling at the end of the year. He said that he was basically playing at 190 pounds because he had some gastroenteritis and he was basically eating soup and crackers before all these big games.
And he had the rib injury. Like, he was banged up.
Him and Nussmeier were both banged up. But Simpson, he would not be my favorite quarterback option to roll in with. But far be it for me to be like, oh, no, there's no way the Jets can think about signing Ty Simpson. Because I think there's a potential where he's great in the NFL. I think he's got an arm. I think he's got a very good brain on him. I think he's turnover averse, which is good. I just think you don't want to rush him in too quick. Remember all the hullabaloo about Dante Moore not having enough starts? Ty Simpson has even less starts.
Yep.
So you don't want to rush him in and kill him right away. But I feel like if they take him at 16, there might be a minute where you're like, oh, God damn it, we took Ty Simpson. But then 5 minutes later, you'll say, all right, this is our guy for right now. Like, it's not – it wouldn't be like Hackenberg level. Like, there could be a plan where Ty Simpson and Frank Reich end up meshing well together, and they end up being some sort of light at the end of the tunnel for the Jets.
Yeah, we've talked about Simpson a lot on this show. He's such an interesting evaluation because just based on his talent or like his skill set alone, you could argue he's just as NFL ready as Fernando Mendoza. If you ignore the fact that he has 1 year starting, like I think the things he does well are things that translate to the NFL very easily. Whether it's
stuff that Zach Wilson did not do well and Justin Fields does not do well.
And honestly, like he ran an even more NFL ready or NFL offense than Mendoza. Mendoza did a lot of RPOs.
I mean, Ryan Grubb was in the NFL last year. So.
Yeah. So Simpson was asked to do a lot of high level NFL style throws, whether that's, layering passes over the intermediate of the field or reading defenses, his processing, his accuracy, like all that stuff's at a very high level. Now he's small. He has 1 year of starting experience. He's already had the injury trouble in college. He also, I believe, was playing with a bulging disc in his back. That is deeply unfortunate.
Everybody makes that mistake.
That's like, did you see?
It's like the sports analyst equivalent of dropping the ball at the 1 yard line instead of scoring. Why does everybody do it?
It's do you hear what Charles Barkley said the other day? He said something like, when he was talking about the Knicks, but he called them something different.
You called him what you just called Ty Simpson?
I just said Ty Simpson had bulging.
Take him to dinner.
All right. Yeah, no, but
Chet Press After Dark is here early.
This is what happens, bro. But yeah, he had a lot of injury concerns last year. You have to take that into consideration as well. You're taking the good with the bad with Ty Simpson, but the positives of it, man, it's like a lot of the stuff that he did well. It is going to it would translate well to the NFL. It's just hard for me to justify taking a smaller, older, inexperienced quarterback prospect with injury concerns whose play got worse as the season went on in the first round. Like that is just all of those red flags are just so hard for me to ignore.
You talk with AVT though about, well, it's not injury prone. There's some freaking is gastroenteritis really an injury that's going to follow him?
Rib injury, bulging disc in his back. So the back injury.
There you go. Yeah.
I got it that time. On top of the fact that he's small. I know he said he's up to what? 220 pounds now or something like that. We'll see what he measures.
I don't believe that, but sure.
We're going to see very soon what he measures in at the combine. But he was 193, he said at the end of last year, obviously again, because he had the medical stuff, but you could see it. Like he's got a small frame and that concerns me about his ability to stay healthy at the NFL level.
But if he weighs in at 220, are you just immediately like concerned over?
Not concerned over, but concerned lesser. Sure. Like I think that would be huge for him if he can show up and he's 6'2", 220, right? I don't think he is that. But if he's 6'2", 220, then great. You watch him in Alabama and like you see the small frame. And like imagine him getting hit by Reuben Bain in the NFL, Right. Just imagine him taking hits like that. Like he's
Ruben Bain. Imagine getting hit by Myles Garrett in the NFL.
Myles Garrett, right? Like one hit from Myles Garrett, and I'm like, damn, dude, is he getting back up? I don't know. And that's a concern that I have with him. All of that is to say,
it'll be like when Joe Montana missed basically all of 2 years in a row. They were playing the Giants, and then Lawrence Taylor comes up and he does one of those little like oop things like that. And then Leonard Marshall came behind him and basically broke Joe Montana in half. And he missed like 2 years, and that's kind of what let Steve Young kind of show he was good. But yeah, he basically missed the whole year, and then he played like one game the next year. That's my fear.
Better Jet fan said Ty 6'2". I think he's probably 6'1". That's
he's listed at 6'2", but Diego Pavia was listed at 6 foot, and he is
5'9".
5'9". And we have official confirmation that D'Angelo Pons is not 5'9" from Justin.
No,
so
he's
I'm 5'9". Am I tall? I'm a little bit. I'm like 5'9" and a quarter. Am I taller than D'Angelo Pons?
I think he's 5'8". I think D'Angelo Pons is 5'8". If I'm eyeballing it, standing next to him, I think he's 5'8".
You think you get out like a micrometer?
Yeah, I'm just eyeballing it, figuring it out.
Hold on, let me get some
measuring tape. Yeah, I'm
gonna put
my ruler out as I ask you this question. That's what teams got to be doing with Ruben Bain when they're talking to him. It's like, hey, bring those arms over here. Let me measure them.
That if I was Ruben Bain, I'd go do my interviews. I'd go get my arms measured. If I hear 32, I'd leave.
Yeah,
I'd leave right there.
He doesn't need to do anything else.
Just do anything else.
That's all he's got to do. But all that back to Ty. We'll wrap up the conversation here by saying 16 still feels rich for me. It's going to depend on what the board looks like. Like if you're saying, oh, Ty Simpson or Keldrick Falk or Peter Woods, all right. You know what? Maybe Ty Simpson. I don't hate that. I don't hate Ty Simpson over those guys. Ty Simpson or Mekhi Lemon or whoever else might be there at 16. Yeah, I'm gonna go Mekhi Lemon. Like, it's not a conversation to me.
Ty Simpson or Denzel Boston.
I'm going to assume the Jets don't sign anybody significant in free agency at wide receiver. So I'd go Denzel Boston. I'd go Boston there.
I'm trying to figure out what the line of demarcation is here.
It has to be a prospect that I don't like. I don't love Keldrick Falk as a prospect, and I don't think he's like a major difference maker for the defense. That I don't mind taking the swing there on a quarterback. Peter Woods, I think there's more upside with, but again, like just a D tackle who was not productive in college. Yeah, I'll take Ty Simpson there. I think a best case scenario, obviously, is he's there at 33. Or a more realistic best case scenario is he falls into the 20s and you can
move up and get him.
Like I had a mock draft come out on Monday. If anyone wants to go check that out, full 7-round mock where I had the Jets trading up to 27 with the Niners, and they moved up from 33. And you really don't have to give up much. I think I did it for like a 4th and a 5th. Moving up now, maybe they give up more than that. They don't have a 3rd, obviously. Maybe they give up a future pick. I don't know.
Whatever the Texans did to move up to get Dart, or the Giants did with the Texans to get Dart.
Especially in a class like this, I really don't think the demand is going to be that high to move up. So I think it could make sense. Now, I don't know where Simpson goes. There's a world, Mike, where Simpson goes before 16. There's absolutely a world where that happens.
Oh yeah, Miami, the Rams, yeah, Cleveland, yeah.
I don't know. I think that's just something we're not really going to find out until draft day where he ends up going.
So what tier is he in?
I mean, I'll say B tier. I think like I'd be happy with him starting week 1 if
above Levis.
Yeah, I'd say top of B tier. Happy with him starting week 1. Even if they get him at 16, I'd still be very excited and intrigued about what he can do. Maybe he can even sell me an A tier for Ty Simpson. Honestly, like if you want to put him in A tier just to like make it more.
Yeah, why not? Yeah.
Let's put Ty Simpson in A tier. Let's get a rookie up there. I think we had where was Shador last year? I think Shador was like close to A tier.
That was before Shador apparently had the worst pre-draft. He took Laramie Tunsil's crown and Ja'Kai Polite's crown of worst pre-draft process. And
but listen, we were onto something, Mike. That's a Pro Bowl quarterback you're talking about.
Yeah.
So just to fully recap here, we'll make this a little bit bigger. To fully recap here before we sign off, no quarterbacks. This is your official New York Jets.
And this is on a curve. This is
on a curve. Your official 2026 New York Jets QB tier list based on how excited we are if this player is starting week 1. No quarterbacks in S tier. Your A tier is Jacoby Brissett, Geno Smith, and Ty Simpson. Your B tier is Will Levis, Kyler Murray, Davis Mills, Derek Carr, Spencer Rattler, and Marcus Mariota. C tier, Malik Willis, Tanner McKee, Mac Jones, Kirk Cousins, Tua Tagovailoa, and Anthony Richardson. Your D tier is Carson Wentz, and Andy Dalton, Gardner Minshew, and Joe Flacco. What a tier that is, bro. How is that not bottom tier? Because you have the Justin Fields tier, which is Tyrod Taylor, and of course our old friend Justin Fields. I feel fairly certain saying if they end up with any of the guys in those bottom two tiers that we are going to not be happy for months leading up to the season. At least if any of those guys are legitimately starting caliber or starting candidates for the team.
And with that, I think we'll call time on this episode of the Jet Press Podcast. You know where to find us. Apple, Google, Spotify, Guys Heritage Podcast. We are there. Justin.
Yeah.
Sign us off.
I think we nailed it, my friend. Another perfect tier list. We only make perfect tier lists. I don't think we've ever had a non-perfect tier list once on the Jet Press Podcast. Never once.
Nope. Except for last year, this exact one.
No, it was perfect at the time. We don't grade in hindsight, Mike. We grade in the moment. And right now, in the moment, this is a perfect tier list. And I challenge anyone to argue that. Actually, I'm going to see if I can put in the description of this video, because this is a public tier list. So if you guys want to make your own, maybe we did this last year too. If you want to make your own, I'll put the link to this in the description on YouTube, and you guys can go nuts and make your own Jets QB tier list. Share them. I don't know. If you share with us on Twitter, maybe I'll retweet it or something. If it's good, if it's perfect like ours, maybe I will. But anyway, until next time, thank you all for joining us on the show today. You can find Mike on Twitter at @ByMikeandSean. Follow me on Twitter, Justin T. Fried. Follow Jet Press and Jet Press. Download Jet Press Podcast wherever you get your podcast. Check us out on YouTube and TikTok. Subscribe, hit the notification bell. Thank you again to MF Chu, who donated 5 memberships. We say it every week, but MF Chu, you are the man. We stream live every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you all for listening to Jet Press Podcast. I've been Justin Fried. That is Mike Luciano. We'll see you guys next week, where we probably do some big free agency primer, because it's coming soon, man. We're almost there.
It's a coming.